Hi you guys, it's Amanda from Healthy House on the Block, and today I wanted to record a quick video for you to go along with my latest blog post all about your homemade laundry detergent. So if you've read the post, you kind of understand that there's a lot of controversy right now as to whether homemade laundry soap works or whether it's harmful to your clothing and your washing machine. So just a little background. I used to make my own laundry soap, and I just ended up kind of quitting that because I ran out of time to find all the ingredients and to mix it up. And so in a pinch, I ended up buying some 7th generation free and clear laundry soap, which gets an A rating on ewg.org, or you can check the Think Dirty app. And this laundry soap, just for the price, I thought this is well worth the convenience of buying my own. So I kind of stopped making my own laundry detergent. However, about a month ago, I had another blogger kind of reach out to me and say, hey, as someone who knows more about like appliances and does home inspections, what is your opinion on laundry detergent that you make at home, and whether it's good for your washing machine and whether it's bad for your washing machine and your clothing? So initially, when I read the email, I was kind of like, well, of course, homemade laundry soap works. It's completely fine. The ingredients are safe, and they're all like laundry components. So of course it will work and it won't be harmful. And then I kind of took a step back because she had also sent me a link to someone who wrote up a blog post about how it absolutely does not work and it's horrible for your clothes. And so I read the post, and I thought, I am going to do some really unbiased research, and I'm going to check and see what the facts are with these ingredients that we put in these homemade laundry detergents. So I started doing some research, and what I found was, yes, it definitely can work. So this is like not my opinion. This is kind of like the science behind it. Yes, it can work, homemade laundry detergent. However, you have to have almost like the perfect environment to go ahead and use it in. And it kind of consists of 4 things. So I'm going to go over the 4 things today, and I have them listed on my blog. Plus, I went through all of the like actual ingredients that you would add to homemade laundry detergent, and you can see what it does, why it's used, why it's okay and safe. So I'll put a link below that you can check out that blog post with. But the 4 things that you need to make sure are happening if you want to use homemade laundry detergent are things that you might not be able to control and things that you might be able to control depending on where you live. So the first thing is soft water. Your homemade laundry detergent really has a hard time working effectively in hard water. So we need to have really soft water in our homes. Even if you have moderately hard water, what happens is all of the minerals within that water will adhere to different soap particles because there is not a lot of use of surfactants, and so they don't disperse very easily, and they latch on to the minerals, and then the minerals will get embedded in your clothing, and so it kind of leaves your clothing with like that stiff feeling because it still actually has some soap residue in it, minerals, and a little bit of dirt. So if you have, like I said, even moderately hard water, it's probably not going to work very effectively for you. You're probably going to end up with clothes that might even be dirtier than when you put them in, because it's mixing with, all of the dirt from all of the clothing. And it just doesn't get rinsed out very thoroughly when you have hard water. So if you have a water softener that's maintained, that's the first thing. You'll be kind of sitting pretty with that. If you have treated water from a city, please know that it still can be hard water. We have city water, and we still have a softener because the water actually is quite hard here where we live in Minnesota. So that's the first thing, is you want to make sure that you have really soft water. The second thing is rinsing. You need to make sure that you are rinsing your clothes really, really well if you're using a homemade laundry detergent. And this could even mean adding an extra rinse. That's what I would do when I used it, just because that's just kind of a habit I got into. But if you're not rinsing the clothes probably at least twice, like I said, a lot of those soaps that don't disperse very well in homemade laundry detergent stick to the fibers of your clothes and become embedded within the fibers. So if you're not rinsing it more than once, you're probably leaving some of that soap in there. And if you've seen videos online where people will like strip their laundry or they'll let it soak, the water will turn like a brownish, bluish gray color, and that's dirt and soap. And if you have hard water, that's the hard water color kind of coming through. And so that's what happens when you don't rinse everything out. And honestly, depending on what type of soap you're using, what type of fabrics you're washing, and if you have hard water, you may need to even do one more rinse just to make sure that you're getting all that soap out of your fibers of your clothing. So that's the second thing. The third thing is the water temperature. A lot of times when we're making homemade laundry detergent, we're using like bar soaps, and we're also which are oil, they're like fats made of like animal fats and different oils. And then sometimes people add in their own essential oils. So these things do not disperse well in cold water. They need to be used in hot water for them to mix and disperse throughout the whole load. So that's a really important thing, is you have to wash your clothes in hot, maybe warm water. I would say hot is probably better if you're going to use homemade laundry detergent. Now I realize that not all clothes can be washed in hot water, and so this is where it kind of comes into play. You might want to think of something else if you're going to need to wash something in cold. So the fourth thing that we need to consider when we're talking about homemade laundry detergent is the agitation of the washing machine itself. So a lot of these homemade soaps use a bar soap, like a laundry bar soap. Some examples would be Zote soap or Phelps Naphtha. Castile soap also has a bar that people will use. Some people use Dial. You know, whatever you're going to use, I would just check the Think Dirty app or ewg.org to make sure that it doesn't contain synthetic fragrances or other chemicals that you might not want on your laundry. That being said, these bar soaps are, the reason people use them is, you know, maybe generations ago, or even like my grandma, when she was young and they lived on a farm, they would wash their clothes by hand and they would use these bar soaps on like a washing board. And so they worked really well for those who are hand washing. Well, we're not hand washing our clothes anymore. We're putting them in a washing machine where it kind of agitates a little bit, but it's not really scrubbing the fibers of the clothes to get them clean or to get stains out. So one thing that's important to know is in a detergent you would buy in the store, it has two separate components in it that kind of fight each other and act as a scrubber, and it will kind of lift stains and dirt out of clothing with just the agitation of the washer. Homemade laundry detergent probably doesn't do that unless you have a washing machine that has, you know, the agitator in it, you know, like the older ones. I know they still make them that has an agitator, and it twists and kind of churns the laundry. You might get a better result compared to like maybe a front load washer that just kind of, you know, moves the laundry around a little bit. So making sure that you have a setting that's really scrubbing the clothes is important as well when it comes to homemade laundry detergent. So these four things, you know, if you have them all together and you have like this perfect environment, homemade laundry detergent should work for you. Now, I also wanted to quick talk about two softeners that people use in place of fabric softeners. So they're natural like components that you can just put into your washing machine to soften the clothing without using actual fabric softener. So the first is vinegar, and vinegar is very acidic, which actually feels soft to the human touch. And so that's why people use it in their washing machines. It also kind of strips the clothes of any sort of soap that's sitting on it, hard water minerals, things like that. And so when you use it in the rinse cycle, it goes through the clothing and it can soften the clothing. Now, it's perfectly fine for clothing. It's not going to damage your clothes or anything like that. The one thing that has become kind of an issue is because vinegar is so acidic, it can damage any sort of rubber that is within your washing machine. Now, if you have a front load washing machine, you have what's called a rubber boot that goes around your washing machine door and it seals the water in. And vinegar can be very hard on this part of your washing machine, and you may eventually start to see leaks because we're using it as a rinse cycle, and so it's kind of one of the last things that goes through the wash, and it can sit on that rubber for an extended period of time. So that's one really important thing to consider. If you are going to use vinegar, just make sure that it's getting rinsed out. If it sits on those rubber seals, you're going to have problems with leaks and cracking seals. Now, the second thing that people will use in their washing machine to soften their clothing is they'll use salt, either like table salt. I've heard of people using ice cream salt. I've also heard of people using like even Epsom salt. And the thought process is that it works just like a water softener. It really doesn't work like a water softener. It may make the clothes feel a little bit softer, but it is really not the same as a water softener, which has a brine tank with a special formulated salt in it and resin beads that kind of use this chemical process to soften your water. So it's a little bit different. But that being said, salt, while it's not harmful to any of the rubber on your washing machine, can be harmful to the metal on your washing machine. So if you have even stainless steel, if you let salt water sit on stainless steel, eventually it will start to rust. And so because, again, we're using this as the last rinse cycle, it's really important to pay attention and make sure that salt is not sitting on, the metal drum or basin of your washing machine. So I used to use vinegar and, it worked fine for us, but I kind of missed the scent of fresh laundry. And so I decided to go back to fabric softener. I use Attitude fabric softener, which gets an A rating on Environmental Working Group's website. And then I also use 7th Generation has one that's the health risks are very, very low. That one you can even just get at Target, and it's pretty economical for how much you're buying and how safe the product is. So that's what I've chosen to do. And as far as homemade laundry detergent, I just don't do it because of time anymore. And I think it would be a little cumbersome for me to try and make sure all of those 4 things are in place before I did every load of laundry. I'm sure if you're like me, you're doing laundry almost every day, and sometimes just being able to quick put in, my Thieves detergent or my 7th Generation detergent really makes a difference to me. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will put the blog post in the links below. Thanks, guys.